All right, so you've heard all about the Persuasive Speech Project. Now it's time for you to get to choose what you want to research, what you want to write about, and what kind of speech you are going to be giving. So typically, I don't like to have everyone in the class choose the same topic because it gets a little boring and mundane, especially when you listen to the same speech over and over and over. So I have 27 things on here for you to choose from, and that way we'll get some more variety. Now, if there's something that's not on here that you were really hoping to write about, that may still be an option. If you have an idea of something that's not on here that you want to write about, you just need to send me an email requesting that topic. I will let you know that I will not approve topics that are extremely political or religious because it tends to be a point of contention in the classroom and it can isolate and offend our peers, and we don't want to do that. Now, you might have differing opinions on these topics than your classmates, but that's okay because these typically aren't like hot button, really heated issues. So if you have a different idea, go ahead and send it to me, and I'll let you know whether or not it's approved or if I want you to just stick with this list. That being said, I also don't really care which stance you do on these topics. Whether you agree with me or not is not how you are graded. You are graded based on the criteria of the rubric in the last slide. So, your research, your organization, and how you defend your position. It is okay if we have completely different viewpoints on an issue. I have had people literally stand in front of me and give a speech knowing that it was like my hot button issue, and they argued the other point and they still made a 96 on the project. So it's okay, whatever you want to say that you can tie into evidence and support is awesome. So here's some of our topics. Should students have to wear uniforms, meaning to school? Should state colleges be free to attend? That means like UNC schools, NC State, Western, any of the public colleges, should it be free? Should students have to pass a basic skills test to graduate high school? This is referring to, some people argue that students their senior year, when they take like the SAT, they would take a similar test to that, kind of like a massive EOG at the end of the school year. And it's an EOG over like basic skills for life and what you've learned. And if you don't pass, you don't graduate. Should GPAs be affected by classes like gym and music and CTE and other electives? Should boys and girls be in separate classes, meaning like a all boys class and an all girls class? Um, should school athletes have to be on the AB honor roll in order to play in games? Right now, it's you have to be passing your classes, but in some states, they require AB honor roll in order for you to play in the games or to be on a team. So, do you think that's necessary, or do you think it should stick how it is? Should cities offer free public Wi Fi? So, like free Wi Fi to everyone within city limits. Should school start later in the morning? Notice this does not say a shorter school day. It might be it starts later, like it starts at 9 o'clock, but you don't get out till 4 o'clock. But should school start later? Should high school students have to complete community service hours to graduate, like volunteering at places? Should students or teachers, you could argue either one, receive money for scoring well on standardized tests? Standardized tests are EOGs. So if you do really well on the EOGs, should you get like a bonus check? Should your teachers get a bonus check if you score really well? Should it be tied into money at all? Um, should we have year round school? Okay, this is a confusing one for most people. That does not mean school 365 days a year. Year round school is actually very common in a lot of places. I know Georgia does it in some schools. My cousin did this in California. What it is you still have a summer break, it's just shorter. Usually they're like 6 or 7 weeks. And then you go to school for a certain amount of time and then you get a break and go to school. So, school lasts throughout the year. But for example, my cousin's school, it was like go to school for 4 weeks, get a week off. Go to school for 4 weeks, get a week off. And then you still had 2 weeks for Christmas break. You still had your 1 week, for spring break. And then you only had 6 weeks for summer because you had basically like a spring break every other month. Um, Sometimes the schools will say, like, go to school for the full 9 weeks and just have holidays off, but then you get a 2 week break in between each one. So that's year round school. It doesn't mean you're in school all the time. It's just school goes throughout the year, but it has more breaks. Number 12 says, should the president be limited to a single 6 year term? So instead of having 4 years and then up for reelection, should we just say, okay, you're elected president, you're there for 6 years, and then you're out, you can't run again, next guy's in? Um, should it be a law to require bicycle riders to wear a helmet? And that doesn't mean motorcycle, it means like bicycle that you pedal. Are children more socialized because of the internet? Like, are we better at communicating and getting to know people because of the internet? Number 15 says, should students be required to take an art or music class in order to graduate high school? Should middle and high school schools offer recess? Should you still get a recess break at your age? Number 17, should people who receive a DUI or a DWI lose their license for a year, like automatically? 18, should cigarettes be made illegal? 19, has technology helped connect people or has it isolated them? 20, should the minimum wage be increased to $15 an hour? 21, should marching band be considered a sport? 22, should college athletes be paid? 23, should professional athletes be given random mandatory drug tests? 24, should professional athletes be paid less? 25, should financial aid loans charge interest? I know that might be a little confusing for some of you, but the way interest works is if you borrow $1,000, you don't pay back $1,000. You end up paying a little bit more each month, and so in the end, you might have paid back $1,200. It just depends on what your interest rate is. And right now, financial aid loans do charge interest. So if you borrow a certain amount, you end up paying back a lot more in order to go to school. 26, should class periods be shorter? You have 90-minute classes. Some schools have 55-minute classes. And 27 is, should all students be required to learn an instrument in school? Or you could say, should they be required to play a sport? There's many takes you could do on that. I've also had people argue for a 4-day school week. There are several different ideas here that you could kind of take it and run with it, but you can choose a topic and let me know as soon as you have made your decision.